Hey, everybody. Welcome into M&M&M Across the Board. Ashley Miller, Eric McDowell, Sean Martin here with you on a very special version of our show today. We are all wearing the color pink. It's October. I think most people know by now, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we have a very special reason for that, also a personal reason that, Sean, do you want to touch on now or do you want to save it?
We'll save it for later.
All right, we'll save it for later. But we are behind the cause, obviously, for breast cancer awareness and certainly support the fight against that terrible disease. We're going to do a little bit of NBA today. We're going to go MLB. We've got some breaking news this morning on Aaron Boone. We'll get into the LCSs, and Eric's hat gives you a little hint on where he's going to go with this year's MLB postseason. He's going to Hotlanta to talk about the red hot. Yep, and the pink in the hat. Wow. Red hot Braves. And you're dressed up for the occasion. Both of you, really. I dressed down. You guys dressed up. This is my only pink shirt, so I had to pull it out. And we'll do the NFL as we do every week here on M&M&M Across the Board. We will start with the breaking news, though, guys. This morning, the Yankees announced they are re-signing Aaron Boone, their manager, to a 3-year deal with a club option for 2025. We kind of knew, since he didn't get fired immediately, that this was probably going to happen. I was a little surprised at the length of it because it's not just like this is a full support behind Aaron Boone.
So yeah, are they going to restock the locker room with 5-hour energy drinks for that team? Because they looked like a group that was, I'm not going to say disinterested, but no oomph during the year. And that to me is on the leadership of the team. I'm shocked by this. I'm shocked he still has a job. I'm just curious now, if I'm a Yankee fan, you got to be saying, well, what's going to change? What's going to be different? The expectations are there. The results have not been. What's going to be different? I mean, what is Brian Cashman's obviously staying too. Mm-hmm. It's just more the same in New York. I don't think, I'm a little surprised the ownership is okay with this. I can't imagine the fan base is going to, and I'm going to have a little tough time working the rest of the day while I track Yankee Twitter, because it's going to be on fire if it's not already.
Oh, yeah, it's been on fire.
I'm surprised, but I'm disappointed, and both of you know why, because I love Boone in the booth doing impersonations of Torrey walking on the mound and of A-Rod at the plate and Yaz. I'll never forget that. Of course, I will forget a certain home run that he had a few years ago in pinstripes, but I'm surprised. A franchise known for changing, sometimes pulling the plug too early. Mm-hmm. I thought that it would be it for him, and they'd look at some veterans. I don't think they'd want to bring Showalter back, but if Bruce Bochy wants to come back, and Padres are probably going to hire somebody with experience, and they would have probably jumped at Boone had he become available, because they've had some no names, and that doesn't work anymore. So I'm very surprised. And I know with a Cashman, it's either you love him or you hate him. I mean, you could look on the positive side of the accomplishments, but folks, this roster is abysmal. It really is. There's a lot of things that have to be addressed from top to bottom on the roster in the minor league system. So I'm very surprised. A 3-year deal as well. But I think this is more on Cashman than it is on Boone. I really do.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I just think you're right, though, Sean. Nothing is going to change, because that's what the Yankees do. You're not going to change Cashman. You're not going to change Boone. But at the same time, they're going to throw their support behind all those same guys that have not produced in the lineup. And I understand they have a lot of money invested in some of those guys, but I also think you have to be quicker to make changes, like the Gary Sanchez's of the world. You have to be quicker to move a guy like Gleyber Torres if it's clear that he's just not succeeding. You have to be quicker to shake things up and see what happens. And that's just not something they've done. But listen, his record, 328 and 218. Almost any manager in the league would take that. He's taken them to the postseason in his first 4 seasons, and yet it's not good enough because he's the manager of the New York Yankees.
It isn't good enough. And gaudy records, we talked about it a few weeks ago. It's a team built for the regular season. Mm-hmm. They're not built for the playoffs. A one and done this time around. The problem with the money they've spent, you can't buy chemistry. Mm-hmm. Okay, right. You can't buy leadoff hitters to mesh with your power hitters and guys that move people over. You have to go get those players. And sometimes it's not about spending the big bucks. It's investing on the player who's a gamer, is a term I love using. They don't have that. They had no left-handed bats in the lineup all year until the trade deadline. Even then, Anthony Rizzo is one of my favorite players. He's not what everybody thought he would be a few years ago. He's a good player,
Yeah.
good on defense, but he's not a 30 home run guy. Joey Gallo never really found his range in New York. And what's going to be different, because you still got a bunch of guys. A lot of them can't field. Giancarlo Stanton doesn't know what a baseball glove feels like, right? Unless he has to. And then that's a big ticket for a DH. So I just see more of the same in New York, especially because they have to be fiscally responsible, that they have talent, but it's just not in the right places, or they have too much of the same thing. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they shape up and what they do in the offseason to try and fix these problems. But if they don't have financial wiggle room, I don't know what you can do.
And you just can't play for the 3-run homer. These are guys that always swing for the homers, and you bring Gallo in there, who leads the planet in strikeouts. He's probably going to break Mark Reynolds' career strikeout record, which is ridiculous.
And they've got him for another year.
That's right. But the expectations in New York, as we've said, are very high, and they should be. It's one of the most successful franchises in history, and it's the only franchise in mid-October where a writer says another disappointing down year for New York. Whereas the White Sox, it was a great year because they made the playoffs. So the expectations are out of this world. They really are.
Well, enough of my stupid team who's not in the playoffs anymore. Eric, let's get to Hotlanta, where things are on fire with this Braves team. I know you were on it early on. You had said they made the best moves at the trade deadline. But listen, they're down 3 guys that probably, like, if they had those guys, I would be interested to see how much better they would be. You're missing a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. He's the best player on the team. Mike Soroka is a huge key to that starting rotation. And a guy like Marcell Ozuna, who was really big for them last year, he'll never play baseball again. Those 3 guys are not on the roster, and yet they're up 2-0 going to LA.
Great manager. Well, this is going to package in the Braves. Hats off to them. And we hope that, they had the 2 straight walk-off wins at home. But I'm going to say we've seen this before. So I think it's time for us to bury some of the Atlanta ghost. And I know Ashley has a gentleman that would be very happy to hear this. The Braves had a run of the 14 straight titles, but only 1 title in 95. 96, remember, they were up 2-0 with Smoltz and Maddox. And then they had a great pitching performance from Glavine in Game 3, but lost it. And then, of course, I know Chris doesn't want to hear this, but we have the 6-0 lead with a chance to go 3-1 in the series. Yankees rallied, won the thing in 6. They haven't won it since. And I don't know how any Atlanta fan can recover from that. Number 2 to me is the 2018 college football title game, which was in Atlanta. Oh, my goodness. We remember that. Georgia basically was the host. They led 13-0 at the half, and then Tua took over. 3 TDs, the game winner in OT to DeVonta Smith. The Dogs had Atlanta fans pounding their heads. I don't know how any Atlanta fan could recover from that. And then number 1, with 17 minutes to go, the Falcons led the Pats 28-3. You can still buy Boston shirts that say 28-3 in Super Bowl 51. No team had ever blown an 11-point second-half lead in the Super Bowl. This was 25. The final 17 minutes in OT could have been considered the biggest collapse in any event ever. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So altogether now, I don't know how Atlanta could recover from that. So we need some good news. Georgia football, as Sean predicted, is doing just fine. Thank you. No team has ever been down 2-0 in a best-of-7 and won the World Series in back-to-back years. So that's an optimistic point. What I'm trying to say, folks, is stay hot, Atlanta. Stay hot, and then I will go get the shovel and bury those other 3 stories. Go Braves.
But really what you're saying is Atlanta's a dumpster fire.
Well, those are just 3. There's probably another 10
I
or
got
so.
you.
That's what we got to root for. Freddie Freeman and the Braves.
Listen,
baseball fan.
I love that team. You know me, I have a hard time rooting for AL teams other than the Yankees, so I would probably go NL in either case. But because I have a vested interest in this household, I'll be Braves all the way.
Look, full disclosure, I have breaking news. The other day on Twitter with some of my Bruins contacts that are also big Red Sox fan, sought permission to get on the Red Sox bandwagon.
Oh, no.
For the rest of this play. Just for the playoff, not forever.
Welcome aboard.
Dare I say it. It's a fun group to watch.
No doubt.
Right? They don't have a staff ace right now. Chris Sale is not back yet. They have a lot of guys that are going to go out and they're bulldogs, and they give you good innings. They give you everything they have. If you need a starter to come in and pitch fifth inning, they do that. I was kind of laughing last night when Schwarber hit that 3-run homer on the 3-0 pitch. The first thing I thought was, thank God he's a Red Sox and not a White Sox, because he would have been in AAA before the end of the game, because Tony La Russa would have been offended over the unwritten rule and showing up the pitcher as he was jogging around the base, swinging on a 3-0 pitch. The Red Sox are very likable. They're also likable because I hate the Astros so much.
Correct.
And that's a team, when we taped last week, I thought they'd win in 5. I didn't realize their starting pitching staff was going to just collapse the way they have in the last 3 games. Huge game for them tonight. You're going to find out what they're made of. But I'm surprised. But this Red Sox group with the laundry cart and everything, it's a fun team to watch. I've decided I have to get over the 75 American League Championship Series when they beat the A's and broke my heart when I was a kid. I think I put that one to rest. But yeah, they're a fun group, and I think a Boston-Atlanta series. I like it. I like LA. I have nothing against the Dodgers. Big Kershaw fan, even though he's not pitching. I think an Atlanta-Boston series would be fantastic.
It would be awesome because they're the most fun 2 teams. I think, listen, the Dodgers are fun, but they are obviously the most talented lineup and pitching staff top to bottom. So it's more fun to see these other teams that have just kind of mixed and matched and pasted and taped things together and come out and surprise a lot of people. And there are a ton of people out there who can't believe that I'm rooting for the Red Sox in the ALCS. But I said, listen, they're much more likable than the Astros. There's no doubt. And the cheating thing doesn't help the more recent past of the Astros for me. And honestly, I just have come to hate Altuve and Correa. They're not likable. It's gone totally the opposite way for me. Meanwhile, Kike Hernandez is the most exciting baseball player on the planet right now. He's also the hottest baseball player on the planet right now. The dude's 18 for 36 in the postseason. He's hitting 500 in the postseason. He can't miss. They've hit 3 grand slams in the last 2 games. First team ever to do that in a postseason. They are so much fun. And there are so many players on the field who normally, like a Red Sox team, I hate that guy. Oh, I hate that guy. I don't have that. I really like Xander Bogaerts. I really like Kike Hernandez. Alex Verdugo rubs me the wrong way sometimes, but I like Hunter Renfroe. There are enough guys out there that I really enjoy watching and just feel like they love baseball that I can get on that bandwagon at least until the World Series. Then I'm off.
What Cora has done, as we watch them throughout the year, you wonder about the use of the bullpen. But the fact is, this is like a little league team in a role heading to Williamsport. They really support each other. The pitchers that come out are right at the top of the dugout. But something really stood out, and I think American baseball fans saw it last night, and they see where they're coming from, is Rodriguez. 2 straight starts. Exactly what they needed, where poor Dusty has another injured starter, no McCullers again. And he's right now with Brent Strawn, the pitching coach, is like trying to pick berries in a field. What do we do now? But meanwhile, Rodriguez comes off and we see Cora yelling. And I'm thinking, is he yelling at the ump? What's he yelling? Yeah. He gives him a hug and he says, don't ever do that again, where he showed the watch and looked at Cora. And working with teams, I've always heard coaches say, focus on us, to heck with them. We're not going down into the mud like Correa did, and when he does this stuff, as the fans did last night to him. That is Cora. He's got, you say about, Sean, you've talked in the past about losing the clubhouse. This guy has everybody involved. The interpreters in the dugout, with just everybody. Bat Boy, right now, they just seem unbeatable because they're having fun, and his showing of what he did with Rodriguez made a statement. I love you, but don't do that. Remarkable.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that Cora did that. Because you got a team that's hot, and Rodriguez is giving you big starts right now when you really need it. Let him be himself. I think sometimes if you try and rein in a personality, Carlos Correa is one of the most dislikable guys in baseball because he does that. Now, if I'm a Houston fan, he's in my ring of honor because he does that stuff. Okay. I kind of, as a fan, I like that. I like to see the personalities come out. I thought it was great that Rodriguez did. And I thought Alex Cora just overreacted. Let him show some emotion. Let him ride that emotion and carry you into another inning or two. Instead of suppressing it. It's a big boy sports here, right? I mean, let him,
if you give it, you got to be able to take it.
Exactly.
And I think that's the whole point of it. Like, Carlos is going to come up there and do this. Well, then you better be ready to get it right back when it goes the other way. And I do think like his teammates are going to love that out of him.
Yes.
Alex Cora has to kind of be the dad and like reel it in a little bit. My other question is, though, if it's not the Astros, a team that Alex Cora was on the bench for and has relationships with all these people, is he doing that? Is it just because he loves these players and doesn't want any animosity and whatever? Or is it because he really believes he doesn't want his players showing up other players?
I think we're past the point of how are they going to react. Again, if my pitcher's jacked up and he's into the game and that's what he's doing, I say go for it. Okay. Yeah. Because again, you want him amped up. And if the Astros don't like it, well, tough cookies, get a hit.
But I really like the fact that he just supports every player and what he was saying in that hug. And then at the post game, he was asked about it and he said, I love him. He did a tremendous thing. We just don't do that. That's all he said. But overall, I'm not going to predict that they're going to take all three at home. I think they really need to be honest. If it gets to Houston and that crowd steps up, watch out. But we can't predict this series at this point. Yeah. You would think it's unsustainable for a team to continue to hit like that. And the key tonight, when this was taped, is Zach Greinke. The poor guy's thrown less than 50 pitches for a month. If he is the Zach Greinke of old and gives them 6, they could steal that one and send it at least one more to Houston.
But Pavetta's been really good. He's shown flashes when he was in relief for them through 3 scoreless innings. Yeah. Like that guy's been really, really good at times. So that's a good one. I think it goes at least 6. I think it goes back to Houston just because of the way these games have played out. It's kind of been like a teeter-totter of, goes high one way and then back down the other way. So I think it goes back to Houston. I think the Red Sox win, but I think it goes at least 6. LA, I said this to you off camera, Eric. I think the Braves' best case scenario is to take 1 of 3 in LA and just to get the series back to Atlanta. Up 3-2 would be a win for them. And then if you can't win 1 out of 2 at home, then you don't deserve to win the series anyway.
Yeah, I look at Dave Roberts, and I know playoffs, it's all hands on deck. You got to change your management style. I killed Kevin Cash for costing his team the World Series, I think, last year by managing out of his little black book. But you look at Dave Roberts, Blake Trinan pitch a good 7th inning the other night, just a few pitches, and he brought in Jose Urias, who's not used to being a reliever.
Right.
The game got away from them in the 8th inning. And then to me, that's your formula. You go for it. There was no reason to make a move like that. I thought Roberts managed himself out of that game. And he sometimes will make crazy moves, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And it didn't. But I think it'd be a big mistake to write them off. They're the defending champs for a reason. They've been there. We'll see what they have and see what they come up with tonight in Game 3.
I agree. And I think using Scherzer as a closer, do that in Game 6 if you're down in the series. Do it in Game 7. But don't do it now because you're going to screw things up, and the next time out, he won't be Max Scherzer. You're not going to get the 4-day off situation. But I don't think in Game 1 or 2 it's all hands on deck and pull in those starters, because if you do that, who in the heck is going to be starting when you need a horse at 6 or 7? I think that Urias and Scherzer, those are not good moves because – they say you got to manage every game. It's a 7-game series, and you can't treat Game 1 or 2 like 6 or 7, right?
Yeah, there's too many overreactions early in the series, but I don't disagree with a move like Snitker when we had our guy Ian Anderson on the mound. And Snitker's, the reasoning behind that was he said he just didn't have it. The location wasn't good. Everything about it seemed off. So he said, I wasn't going to send him back out there. We were only down 2-0. We wanted to save that game. And not only that, but okay, now maybe you can bring him back earlier. If it was a matter of he thought he had his good stuff or was improving, that's different. But when he knows a guy doesn't have his stuff, then okay, I'm fine with taking him out and making a move.
And see what he said, Sean? You see what he said in the quote? What he said was he had just had a bad day.
Yep.
Perfect. He just had a bad day. Yeah. We need him later, and we're going to have him back later. Perfect.
He's a great manager.
I'm okay with the manager changing thing up in a series because every game matters, and you got to get to Game 6 or Game 7, okay? I'm critical of Roberts in Game 2 was because they seemed to be in control of the game. They were controlling the situation. There was no need to go off script. If you're short and someone doesn't have it like that, then absolutely you got to modify your plan because every game matters. That's where Roberts again screwed up because I don't think he had to make that move. If you got a game on the line and Max Scherzer's ready to go and he can give you 1 inning to secure that game, I say go for it. You got to worry about game 6 when you got to get to game 6.
Yep.
To worry about it. But the criticism game too is I don't think he had to do it. The game was in the way they've done things all year and the way they've won.
All right, you're watching M&M&M across the board. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter at MMMATB1. And you got a read for me?
I do have a read.
All right, let's do it.
2 weeks in a row, we're going to try and go without glasses.
Oh, boy.
Mohawk Honda. The current supply and demand challenges within the auto industry makes this the perfect time for you to get top dollar for your vehicle. Right now, at Mohawk Honda, you can take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash offer. They will put cash in your hand for your vehicle the same day you come in, even if you don't buy from them. That's a pretty sweet deal, especially for all those recent college grads or students in need of a new ride or some extra cash. Mohawk Honda has consistently kept their lot fully stocked with hundreds of pre-owned vehicles. Their large inventory makes shopping fun as you browse through many of the makes and models to choose from. You can also check out their full selection online. So stop in and say hi to Greg Johnson, the Assistant General Manager, Jake Hot Sauce Doyle, it's our boy, Luis, the VIP man Morales, are one of the many helpful sales consultants here at Mohawk Honda. There's a vast selection of Honda certified pre-owned vehicles, so now is the time to take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash offer. Mohawk Honda in Glenville, where they always go out of their way to please you. And just finally, programming note, Godzilla Media, our parent group, Levac and Goz will be broadcasting live this Friday from Mohawk from 3 to 4:30 p.m.
All right. NBA time.
NBA.
Big
time
night.
to tip the ball off. I'm
Opening
very
night.
excited. I'm very excited. I had my fantasy basketball draft last night.
Ooh.
I
Who's on your
didn't know
team?
What's that?
Who's on your team?
The 8th pick of the first round and landed Kevin Durant. Very happy.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
8th.
What the heck are people doing?
8th.
The rest of the guys are all in my boys' kindergarten class. So, yeah. Sorry, boys. No, they're not. I don't know. I don't know. I was surprised to get them, but I was very happy.
Wowzers.
Interested for this season. Last year in the finals, we had the Bucks and the Suns, a lot of new faces. Some teams have retooled. The Lakers don't like being irrelevant. They don't like not being in the finals, so they brought in Russell Westbrook.
They're going to be irrelevant again.
They're going to be relevant again, although I think with the Lakers, you got to be mindful of whatever their regular season record is. Who cares? They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to spot LeBron. They're going to spot Anthony Davis when he doesn't get hurt. The key is about them kind of being healthy for the playoffs and see if you can run. The problem is they're going to be able to get a chemistry and get some flow going. So we'll find out. They struggle in the preseason, but that doesn't matter. A team I'm looking forward to watching a little bit this year is Golden State. Steph Curry had a great year last year. Klay Thompson will be back in a few months. We'll see if they can get back to where they were a few years ago before Klay kept hurting his knee and Durant took off. But interested in just kind of seeing how the season goes. And you guys have any thoughts as we head into the new year?
I think we said this last year as well, and it proved to be true in a way. The Lakers are old, and they got older somehow. We thought they were old last year. They added Russell Westbrook. They added Carmelo Anthony. They added Rajon Rondo. They're old, and older. So I really just don't think this is going to work out for them. I mean, I'm not sure that there's enough ball to be had for Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, all of those guys. So I would be surprised if they get past like a second round. I mean, I know they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs last year. I'd be surprised if they get past a second round playoff matchup this year.
Well, good for Milwaukee fans because now they can lick their wounds. The Brewers are out of the picture for a couple of weeks. And Ashley, I think you did the Giannis piece on one of our podcasts, which is great. Class act. They lost PJ Tucker, but Nwora could be a guy to watch with the 3-pointers. Brooklyn, with or without Kyrie, they're loaded 11 to 12 in a rotation. Durant and Harden, they learned how to share one ball on the court, which is quite a statement. I mean, they're two of the best players in a long, long time. And so if they stop playing like it's an all-star game and just start playing defense, I think Brooklyn can win it all. Phoenix, I think, is ready for the next step. Ayton and Bridges will help them as well. And they won 51 games, remember, playing in a very competitive, deep, talented, wide-open West. So the team I also say to watch would be Utah. I think Utah is legit. They lost Gay to heel surgery, but if they can start winning more on the road. They're 31-5 at home last year. I'd love to see the Jazz pick it up.
Yeah, I don't think you can count on Kyrie in Brooklyn.
No,
right? He's
can't
looking
count
at
on him
his own.
anywhere.
He
Nope.
has his beliefs. Good for him. But sometimes when you have beliefs, there's consequences. And in this case, he's not going to be able to go to work. And he's not going to be able to help that team. So that's kind of something you talk about the big three. Well, they don't really have three right now. They have two. I don't see the NBA is going to back off that resolution. Why would they? You got to be worried about the public health situation. Keep everybody as safe as you possibly can. Nothing's foolproof, but you got to try. And if he wants to get on that soapbox, for lack of a better term, go for it. But you're not going to work. And he doesn't need the money, obviously. But I don't think they can count on him for the whole year because I don't think either one's going to back down. Even if he does come in, that's a bad look for him, right? Sits out time and he's trying to make a stance here.
Right. You can't now change your mind.
No, you can't. He seems like a guy that he seems pretty set in his ways and the convictions in his decisions. So I think I wouldn't count on him at all for the year.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think Eric's right, though. I think a lot of times, I think in terms of that big three, maybe there's too much there. And whether it's like, I mean, one of the three is injured, if not two of the three all the time. But I think there's enough there on that roster to win a title without Kyrie. Those two are good enough. And listen, the addition of Patty Mills for me is kind of what takes them to the next level. He's a vet and he gives them shooting. And that's what they need to space the floor. And I think, that was the thought behind the Lakers too, with a guy like Wayne Ellington, bringing him in and Malik Monk shooting. So the Lakers did add a couple of pieces that I like, but there is, again, a lot to be said for how many people are going to be able to touch the ball in any given possession and how many shots are going to fall. So I think the Nets are good enough even without Kyrie, and maybe they end up being better without Kyrie. You never know how these things shake out. It's almost like the Braves. The Braves would probably be a better team, but who knows if the chemistry would be the same if those guys were on the team right now. So I think it's similar for the Nets.
Well, I'd love to hear your sleeper too, you guys. To me, I don't know if any team in New York could be a sleeper, but I really think the Knicks are a sleeper. If Kemba Walker gets comfortable, getting to know you type of season he had, RJ Barrett becomes more of a factor, I think the Knicks will pick it up. And a really important, fun, deceiving fact, if you will, believe it or not, they don't play out West until February. And what did we just say about how difficult the West is? If you did the top 10 teams, most of them are out West. So that'll help them, get them confidence. The schedule's in their favor early. I think watch out for the Knicks. And overall, I'd love to hear what you folks think about that sleeper team that might sneak into things.
I don't know if Denver's a sleeper.
Right.
But watch out for them. Jamal Murray's going to be out quite a while.
Yeah.
Michael
he has
Porter
to be
really
back. For me, he has to be back for them to be successful.
Yeah. They'll get through the regular season. Jokic is a monster in the middle. Michael Porter's evolving. The fans out there could use it because their football season's over. So watch out for the Nuggets. And in the East, we haven't talked about Philadelphia. I don't know what you do with Ben Simmons. I don't know what kind of trade value he has. But Embiid is just a stud in the middle. If he can stay healthy, he's somebody they can build around and maybe evolve, and you work toward the playoffs for them because they could be a very tough out.
Yeah, mine isn't a sleeper either per se, but the team I'm maybe most excited to watch this year is the Miami Heat. And they've been exciting year after year, but they made that run in the bubble and then kind of tailed off last year. But they added, PJ Tucker leaves Milwaukee. He goes to the Heat. A guy like Kyle Lowry. A guy like Victor Oladipo, who when healthy is one of my favorite players in the NBA. They are loaded. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. They are loaded. Bam Adebayo. That team is so good top to bottom. They can do so many different things. I am very excited to watch them play this year. And if they live up to their potential, I think they can be one of the best teams in the East, if not the best team in the East.
They could. They could.
Phoenix over Brooklyn in 6. That's the hunch.
Ooh, Phoenix over Brooklyn. Okay. Let's see. I didn't make a pick, but I didn't
make a pick, but you know what? I will. I'll take the Bucks to repeat.
Holy shnikes.
I'm a big Chris Middleton guy. Love him. I think he's underrated. He doesn't get the press that he probably deserves because of that teammate that he has. It's pretty good. And Giannis. So I'll take the Bucks to repeat and let's say Milwaukee Golden State. Steph Curry leads the Warriors back.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm going to go Brooklyn. I mean, I know it's the easy one, but I think I went with Brooklyn last year, and we know how that turned out. I'm going to go Brooklyn in the hopes and thought that a Kyrie-less Brooklyn is a better team. And I just think they're better off without him, and that they have all the talent in the world. If they don't do it this year, they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Very possible. They are all getting a little bit older.
Yeah. And listen, the Suns, to me, bringing Chris Paul back was exactly what they needed to do. There's still a lot to be done with DeAndre Ayton, and if they don't get that figured out, that'll be a problem for them.
That'll be difficult, yeah.
But I don't love the 4-year contracts because, again, Chris Paul is not young. So I think ultimately that's going to cost the Suns 2 years from now when he is just really slowing down and whatever. But if he can play at the level he played last year, they need him on that team. And I think they're ready to take the next step. Those guys are, I mean, Cam Johnson was a superstar in the playoffs, and they need that again from him. He shot like 45% from three almost, which is absurd. So yeah, that's a really good team and a fun team. And obviously Devin Booker is maybe the most exciting young player in the NBA.
Awesome. What about thoughts on Atlanta? They had the kind of, I call it a miracle run into the conference finals last year.
Yeah, I think it was a miracle run in a lot of ways, but I also think, like, in a weird way, the same things that benefited the Bucks title run benefited the Hawks, and that they got the right matchups and they got the Knicks in the first round. And I just think things all went the right way for the Hawks, and they basically are bringing back most of the same team. And, like, listen, they spent a lot of money in the offseason. They gave deals to John Collins. They gave deals to Trae Young. They just signed Kevin Huerter. They brought back all those guys, but they look very similar to the team they were last year. And I'm just not sure that that's good enough. I am still convinced. So that team was better when Nate McMillan took over because he knew how to manage Trae Young. But I'm not convinced that you can win an NBA championship with Trae Young as your number one player.
I like the guy. I don't know if his body can withstand the
I like him too, but him scoring 50 is not, you can't win games. They were winning more games when he was scoring 26.
And a veteran presence would be nice, but they all want to go to LA. So Atlanta's a good, young, exciting team. A very good, young, exciting team. And I still think, Ashley, I agree. I think they're a year, maybe even two away. But pick up a veteran, some guy that'll just be the guy that those young kids can go to. Somebody that's been around a while.
But could they win 47, 48 games? Probably.
One thing I was thinking of the other day, LeBron James, who's one of the greatest players ever. No question about that. He's in LA. How much longer is he going to play? He's got a lot of wear and tear on his body. And I actually think LeBron James I think I've said this earlier when we first started the show way back when, that he's got bigger things coming in his life and his career than just basketball. I think he wants to get into the activist part, and good for him. I like some of the things he says. How much longer do you think he's going to want to play? He's 36. He's been in the national spotlight since I think his junior year of high school.
It's crazy.
So he's been around, and that's a lot of games in those sneakers. I'm just curious how much longer we have LeBron here.
My guess is 3 seasons. And I think that's really going to stretch the abilities of his physical well-being. You know what I mean? I mean, we've seen it in the past few years. He's missed significant time. He's taken days off. And I don't knock a guy for taking rest days. When you're 36 years old and you've played that long in the NBA, you are going to need that more than a guy who's 21 who's playing in the NBA. So I'm good with that. I know you'd be disappointed if you bought tickets to a Lakers game and LeBron didn't play. I understand. But he also has to think about, is he going to be able to walk and hang out with his kids and coach his his kids' basketball teams when he's done? So I think 3 years, and I really think that that's going to push what he's. I don't want to see a LeBron who's just sort of a role player on an NBA championship team. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure that will be the case anyway, but I don't want to see him at all as a role player. I want him to be the best or done.
Your icons don't do that. No. Jordan in Washington was sad to see a little bit. Gretzky went out on the top of his game. He wasn't as good as he was when he left the Rangers, but he was still very, very good. Yeah, seeing those guys reduce, I think a lot of times that's not how they want to be remembered. So I don't think he's going to hang on, for lack of a better term.
A veteran player once said to me that he said, the question was, how much longer do you want to go? And he said, we're athletes. This is all we've ever done. It's not that easy to give up.
And I get it.
If you're a superstar and you've got all the TV, the movie stuff, he's got all the production stuff in place. It's why he went to LA. We get that. But the guy may be like the veteran I talked to, just said, this is all we've ever done. If all I've ever done, Ashley, is TV, and I love doing it. You do, and you're great at it.
Right.
Sean, you love what you do. You're great at it. When you love what you do, and you may not be as great as you are, it's difficult for the brain to tell the heart it's time. And that's basically what this guy was saying. But people have to understand, too, the NBA and the NHL travel is absolutely ridiculous, okay? You say it's a long year. You're playing 82 games. We made a trip where we had to play at Miami and stunk, and then the next night at Dallas. That's not an easy trip. No day off between. And so the travel, what they all have to do, LeBron and all the NBA and the NHL guys, look at that schedule sometime, folks, and say it's remarkable what they're doing. But it is hard for the brain to tell the heart when it's time. And it's up to them, not us.
Yeah, listen, we don't face the same, us normal folks don't face the same issues that these NBA and professional athletes do. Like, I'm 35 years old. Say next year or the year after that, there was some outside force that I physically could no longer do my job. And they were like, nope, you got to hang it up and do something else. Well, I'd have a hard time with that too. Luckily, I don't need to be in a world-class athlete. I don't need to be in tip-top world-class shape in order to do my job. But so I get it. I understand why it would be almost impossibly hard to hang it up. But at the same time, it's not going to affect my physical well-being if I continue to do the job. They're a little bit different.
Well, keep doing your job. You're doing well.
Yes.
I'm going to try. I'll try. As long as they'll keep me, I'll keep doing it.
In the NFL, yes, the body takes a pounding more than any other sport, but you fly out Friday. You do your walkthrough. You got a game Sunday, then you're home, okay? And you get Monday off. In baseball, you unpack. You're in a city for 3 or 4 or 2 days, 3 days. You get, if you're playing out west, the game is played early, so you can fly back home. So those athletes in those 2 other sports like LeBron, they have so much more that they have to deal with travel-wise, and it wears you down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, we are M&M&M across the board. We can be found on Twitter at MMMATB1, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Hey, Gozilla Media, once again, our parent group. Our icon is in the Ashley's above her left shoulder. They have their first bus trip. First bus trip coming up thanks to Johnstone Supply in Troy. Johnstone Supply kicks cancer. Johnstone Supply in Troy and Gozilla Media will be supporting Pink Month. All proceeds from the trip will be donated to the American Cancer Society. Sign up now for the big bus trip. When? This Saturday, October 23rd. $60 for a ticket, which includes a T-shirt, bus trip, food, and drink.
Wow.
The schedule of events is as follows. You meet up at 10:30 a.m. at Johnstown Supply in Troy. You take off at 11. Head to the U Albany versus Maine football game, 1 o'clock kickoff. Payments are due the morning of Saturday, October 23rd. You can pay by check or cash. For more information, email Goz, G-O-Z, at gozillamedia.com.
Awesome. And U Albany head coach Greg Gattuso, there's a really cool program called Real Men Wear Pink, which benefits ACS and the fight for breast cancer research. Coach Gattuso is doing that this year. Chris did it last year. It's a really cool cause. So if you're looking to donate to the cause, donate to the ACS. It's a great foundation that does a lot of good for people all across the country, not even just here in the capital region. So we're wearing our pink. All right, NFL time. I'm going to start with the game last night because it was awesome and because of kind of the reaction and the implications for the AFC. Bills-Titans was incredible. Lead change after lead change after lead change. And I know Bills fans are probably disappointed. They go for it on 4th down late. Josh Allen slips. His feet come out from under him, and he comes up short. So they don't kick the game-winning or the game-tying field goal. Instead, they now lose. But to me, that's not a bad loss. That Titans team is a good Titans team. Derrick Henry is the best running back in the NFL, and it's not even close. I mean, there was another time last night where he stiff-armed someone, and I just thought, oh, my God, this is a man among boys. A man among boys. It's unbelievable that a human that large can run away from people the way he does. So I thought we saw the best of the NFL last night. Everything about it was exciting. It was fun. Good defense, good offense. I loved it.
Derrick Henry, I'm trying to find a comp for him because he is a beast. He's
the only, I mean, I didn't live back in the day. He's the only player of his kind that I've seen in the last 15 to 20 years.
He's not Earl Campbell. He's not big enough, who's the
Right.
best big back I ever saw. He runs, he's a hammer. Okay.
Mhm.
If you want to put your hat in on him and try and knock him down once he gets going, you're going to pay the price for it. But he has deceptive speed.
Mhm.
He's a big guy,
He can fly.
right? But he doesn't look fast. But boy, is he. And he got through that line last night on that 76-yard run, and they weren't going to catch him.
Gone.
He is an absolute beast. He's fun to watch as long as you're not a fan of the team trying to stop him.
Right.
Because once he got, and what a weapon, because, Ryan Tannehill didn't get the job done in Miami, but not any quarterback. Most quarterbacks would look better in Tennessee because you don't have to throw
Right.
300 yards.
And that's the thing. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't even really have to be good. He just has to be okay.
Just don't lose the game.
Yep.
Derrick Henry is a beast, and he is fun to watch unless you turn around and he went by you on the line. I mean, he is ridiculous. He is the one NFL player I want to see in person. I'd like to see him up close.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back, and I think of Sanders and some of that Harris. I can't find anybody close. Well, I never saw Jim Brown play, but I know Jim Brown was very strong. And when you see Henry with a stiff arm get out of the way, he could break your shoulder with that thing. But his speed, you're right, is deceptive. You give him a little crack and he becomes a Barry Sanders. He finds the holes. And then once he's gone, the train has left the station. Tremendous player, and I hope all three of us get to see him play in person. And great job, Tennessee. We've picked you to win it, some of us in here. But let's see a little more consistency. That was a tremendous win. Let's see it work some more in Nashville.
No doubt. The other game that stood out to me, guys, and I think this was probably in Sean's mind when he finally got on the Chargers bandwagon last week. He was probably like, oh, I hope this works against them. It's going to go the other way. I mean, the Chargers got freaking manhandled by the Baltimore defense.
This O stands
by
for
the Baltimore
overrated.
defense. They got rolled. Lamar Jackson is at the top of the MVP candidate list, along with Kyler Murray for me right now.
Yep.
But I was stunned by the Baltimore defense and just what they were able to do. They've piecemealed it together. I know when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, it opens up the rest of the offense. I understand that. But Latavius Murray, these are guys who we talked about them losing their top 3 running backs to start the year. They've got Latavius Murray. They added Le'Veon Bell, and they're using Devontae Freeman. Who the heck would have thought that the Ravens would be 5-1 at this point? Certainly not me.
They've won 5 in a row.
Yep.
Makes the Raider win over them look a little better to at least me. The Chargers, I look at Buffalo last night, blip on the radar, nothing to worry about. You went and played a really good team on the road. You lost a tough game you could have won. Move on, right? I think LA's got to be in the same boat, same mindset. I really like that coach, Staley. I think he's going to do real well there. They got the quarterback. He just had a bad game, right? The Ravens, they got in his grill early. The Ravens got up, made the Chargers kind of one-dimensional, and it just wasn't going to happen. You know what? In the NFL, that's going to happen a couple times throughout the year to just about every team. So the Chargers, I think, will be fine, tied for first in their division. That was a beating. I actually was really looking forward to watching that game and had it turned off pretty quick because it was just terrible.
Everybody always talked about Harbaugh. You talk about Jim. How about John? How about what he has accomplished? How about what he rebuilt with that squad? I mean, that team is tremendous. And I think that team's better than the team that won the whole thing. And they see an opening. Cleveland's still waiting for that big win that some people might have thought, that statement win, and they didn't get it done. We know where the Steelers are going. They are south. They're in the Monongahela River trying to get not drown right now. And the Bengals are the up-and-coming team. But this is the Ravens' time. I can see them getting home field. I'd like to see what team in that conference. We know KC and Mr. Mahomes with his pop-up int last week. This is all about the Ravens right now.
Not so fast.
Oh.
What's the problem? You want to dispute? Go ahead.
AFC contenders. Right over my head. Come on.
Contenders, one of many plural contenders.
One of many. I'm not too worried about the Chiefs. I heard a stat the other day. Mahomes had 2 more picks the other day.
One of which Tyreek Hill dropped again.
Oh,
The other, which was horrendous.
The thing about Mahomes, and I saw a stat, I can't verify it, that he had 17 dropped interceptions last year. Look, I've said it before. I kind of sounds like I'm banging on the guy every week. He is careless with the football. He gets away with it a lot, but he's not getting away with it so much. They still have to tighten it up. Not a great win over the Washington football team. They're still going to be there, I think, but I just don't see it this year. I don't think they're going to win the AFC West now.
Yeah,
I want to throw a couple things to you guys, just your thoughts. First of all, it's nice to see the London Jaguars get a win. Now, if they could find a way to win in their second city,
I was going to say, they did it where they have the most fans, in London.
Yeah,
and
right.
the most success. That's right. The Queen.
In London.
When you play God Save the Queen, they win.
Snapped a 20-game losing streak.
I'm just curious, how does Urban celebrate victories? We've seen how he handles losses. His cell phone's put away, taken at the door.
Now, we remember a New York strip, and I don't mean the juicy steak at Morton's. I'm thinking about Geno Smith when he was a Jet. Okay, so Seattle, it's proven now they are toast by the time Wilson returns in about 4 weeks.
Yeah, when he comes back, they're too far behind anyway. And I'm not sure. I had said I'm not sure that they would have been good enough in that division. I picked them last in the division. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure they would have been good enough in the division even with him. But guys, this was the Jags game because it was the 9:00 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. I watched more of that probably than I should have, but it was really the first time I got to watch Trevor for an extended period of time. And there was a stat that went up on the screen we were watching, and it said that the Jags, he is the 5th least sacked quarterback in the NFL. So the offensive line of Jacksonville has given up the 5th least sacks in the NFL. And let me tell you, it's not because they're good. It's because Trevor Lawrence gets out of the way, avoids pressure, throws the ball away when he needs to, and doesn't make overly stupid decisions because he was running for his life the entire time we were watching. He just so happened to he's great at bootlegging, feeling pressure. Like what I saw from him tells me everything I need to know about he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I'm just not sure it's going to be in Jacksonville because I'm not sure that he's going to get the help he needs.
They're off. I'm looking ahead at the schedule. We're talking about the Titans and Chiefs. So I'm going to go back to them for a quick second. They play this week in Tennessee. I think you'll find out a lot about Titans. Are they the team that lost to the Jets? Are they the team that won last night? Are they somewhere in the middle? Mm-hmm. It's a great chance for them to build off that win last night on a short week. I'll give you a little prediction. Derrick Henry goes for 200 yards this week. I don't think the Chiefs defense can stop him. They're a little weak back there. And that game could turn into a shootout. But if Tennessee, I think they're going to control the ball on the ground. Henry's going to go off, and they're going to take down the Chiefs. And also another great, you see a young up-and-coming team, see what they have. You're going to find out a little bit about Joe Burrow this week and the Bengals. They go play those Ravens, who are home again for a second week in a row.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Now,
if for no other reason than the Bengals defense just may not be able to stop Lamar Jackson and the offense.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I never thought I'd say this, but you can record it. You are recording it. The Patriots need to learn how to win. I never thought I'd ever say that.
Yeah.
But they've played Tampa tough. They played Dallas tough. They could have won either one. But the fact is, any defense at any level, if you're on the field for 82 plays and 13 more minutes, by the time it gets late, you ain't got nothing left in the tank in fourth or OT. So they're getting there. But Dallas haters, sorry, the Cowboys are for real.
Yeah, and if I'm Patriots fans, I'm not worried. Again, you have a rookie quarterback, but they've played teams tough. They've come up with some tough luck losses. I thought they played well against the Cowboys. Listen, it probably hurt them that Mac Jones answered with a one-play 75-yard drive and put the defense back on the field. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of backwards, but had he chewed up 3 or 4 minutes of clock and done that a little bit later, it probably just would have helped. But I thought that game was awesome. And Mac Jones showed that he's kind of got the gall and the short-term memory that a quarterback needs. Forget that your former teammate just picked you off and went in for 6 and took the lead, and go back and go right at him. And that's what he did. And I love that.
Yeah, the Cowboys, I know they're probably holding their breath a little bit with Dak needing an MRI, but I think they clinched the division. Right? The
no doubt.
Lead. Yeah. I mean, that's over.
Yep. Yes. And they'll run away with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That division stinks. And we knew that, but
we knew that coming in.
Yep. And guys, the Cardinals, I'm not surprised. surprised by the Cardinals. I feel like I probably picked them third in the division because we knew the
Yeah.
Rams would be what they are. But I mean, they look like world beaters right now. And I understand we all knew about the offense, but it's their defense that's surprising people. Like, they didn't give the Browns a chance in that game. And JJ Watt has been a monster. And I think so. I wrote it down. I'm pretty sure. So the Arizona defense forced 3 turnovers on downs, 2 forced fumbles, which they recovered, and 1 interception. You're going to win a lot of games that way if that's what you're doing. So to me, the Arizona defense has been such a huge reason why they are continuing to win and to do it so impressively. Like, the Browns are a decent team, and I think a team that a lot of people were high on, and they didn't even make it look competitive.
Cleveland is in that role right now. They were the team. I picked them to win the division. They had a good run last year to the playoffs, hung with the Chiefs in the first round. Are they ready to make the step?
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're learning that the learning curve to get there is not that easy. Mayfield's playing injured. He seems like he's trying to do too many things instead of kind of letting the game come to him. He's forcing it to him. They got down early the other day, and I think they panicked. And you can't do that against a good team like the Cardinals, and it was never close. So I think the Browns are finding out that when you're the up-and-coming team and everybody kind of loves you, that's awesome. But once you have expectations, it's a little different week in and week out.
Real quick, some more breaking news before we go to our whiteboard segment. Ben Simmons got kicked out of practice today and then subsequently suspended for the season opener for conduct detrimental to the team. So things are going very well for Ben in Philadelphia.
Oh, trade him for Kyrie Irving. There you go.
Trade him for Kyrie.
Problems.
I have said I don't understand why somebody doesn't trade for Kyrie. Trade him to someone who can use him where they don't have these COVID-19 restriction rules, and he can play in every state but New York and LA or California or Minnesota, something like that. There's only a few states that he can't play in.
I was going to suggest that Kyrie get in touch with Evander Kane of the Sharks and get one of those fake COVID cards.
That guy.
He apparently didn't do it the right way.
Suspension after suspension.
21 games.
He was almost my whiteboard, but then I had a better idea.
On top of all this other stuff. Whiteboard.
Here we go. Eric, I know you love a good female representation, as do I. So I'm going Candace Parker because that woman deserves all the praise in the world. This is someone who's one of the best WNBA players on the planet at one time, who was essentially written off. People said she was overrated. She was done. Her career was over. She leaves LA, goes to her hometown of Chicago. And what does she do? In her first year, leads the Chicago Sky to the WNBA championship and was a huge reason on and off the floor why that team won a title. Its first title with Candace Parker. So hell yeah, Candace Parker. She's a mom. She's a working woman in the broadcast booth on TV. And then she goes and wins a WNBA title. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and she won it at home too. I mean, people need to be reminded because it's been a while, but expectations all the way through. National prep player, McDonald's, All-American slam dunk. She goes to Tennessee, which at the time was the place to go, and became the fastest Tennessee player to reach 1,000 points. Think of all the players they've had.
Right.
And if Pat, God love her, was with us today, she put her on her starting 5 all time, and they won back-to-back titles there. Most outstanding player. She did it all. And it's wonderful to see how she still has it. She had 16 and 13 with 5 assists and a block in the final game. So congrats to Candace Parker. And it's about time that she gets the love that she deserves. And it's great that she went home, Illinois, and got it done there. No question. Great choice, Ashley. Nice to see the love for Candace Parker.
Eric, you're up, my friend.
Well, you know I'm a stat guy, you two, but this is a stat I just don't like. I don't understand. Win probability.
Yeah.
It's like an oxymoron, isn't it? Okay. Win probability is the new in thing in the NFL. I get it, there's betting involved, but to me, it's sort of like a presidential election. All right, I'm going to be John King of CNN. Okay. Miller leads Martin in New York State, 58 to 32%, with the vote in upstate New York not in. And it's a projection since the polls closed 8 minutes ago. We won't know until it's over. Well, the same thing's in a game. We won't know until it's over. So who cares? And I'll give an example. Let's get on the roller coaster of that Dallas-New England game. When Lamb had the first TD, they had a 75 win probability %. Then with 3 minutes left, you got it. In regulation, Mac seemed to put a knife in that number, and the Pats were 75%. Then Lamb wins in an OT, and guess what? Game's over. Dallas has a 100% chance to win. Probably. Yep. To me, it's sort of like a prom. This is not personal experience, but the boy has a 10% probability of dancing with the girl. He gets a friend to talk to her and her friend, and now it's up to 35%. Now the two friends drift away, and now his probability is 65%. Then her cell phone rings, and she walks away. His probability is 0. So how about you just watch the game, because you will probably be better off. Go to it, you two.
I don't hate win I don't like win probability in game. I don't like the chart, the line chart, that whatever. I don't like that. What I don't mind is the win probability before the game, because it's basically based on the spread and who's playing and what. So I like the pie charts. Like when you go on ESPN.com and you look at the game cast or the preview of the story, they have like the little pie chart and it has the percentage of whatever team to win. I enjoy that because I like to know what Vegas thinks, what the people think, what ESPN thinks about any given game. But yes, I think the in-game probability is stupid because every second of the day it changes. A first down, it changes. It changes too much. And I just don't care. I don't care. I understand. My mind understands that someone has a better chance to win when they are up a certain number of points or down a certain number of points. They don't. We get it. We're human. That's how our minds work.
I think the win probability probably means more to the people who are gambling on some of these games.
Right. Yes.
I don't pay attention to it, but wow, if I'm a gambler and I have a 90% chance win probability and I lose the game, I don't need to know that information. I don't need to know how bad of a beat that really was. So I'll pass on that. I'll put that in the same category as I do with launch angle and exit velocity in baseball.
Great analogy.
But launch angle and exit velocity have changed the game in a lot of ways because it's changed how people swing and whatever.
Yeah,
win probability doesn't change crap.
It changed it for the worse.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's changed it.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. More irrelevant stuff.
All right, Sean, take the floor. This is your time.
So look, Ashley mentioned it as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October, every year. We're doing our share. Just a message to those people, not just with breast cancer, cancer in general. Mm-hmm. Good luck. Do the best you can. Fight like hell, right? Kick ass. To me, if you need support, you find yourself a support group, a support system. Do whatever you got to do. You have one job, and that's to do the best you can and beat this disease. On a personal note, this is now part of my life with somebody close to me. Here's my whiteboard.
Yeah.
I said, fight like hell. You're tough because I know it. Go get it. Get it done. Ring the bell.
I love it. And I think ringing the bell is one of the coolest things that has become a thing. I love seeing the videos. Ron Rivera, obviously we see the guys and the people who are a little more prominent, but I love seeing the kids come through and ring the bell. It's such, and you get people lining the hallways. It's such a cool moment and such a cool thing. I hope everyone who is fighting cancer gets the chance to do that because obviously it means they will have beaten it, but it's just kind of a celebratory moment that those people deserve so much. And Eric, we know, and maybe Sean, you know her too. We know someone in Eric's field fighting cancer right now, and she is kicking cancer's ass. So our love to her as well. I'm not going to use her name because I'm not sure, how we feel about that, but we love her. She's doing an awesome job. So to Sean, to your people who are fighting it, to everyone who's fighting it out there, not just breast cancer. Yes, yes, yes. Ring the bell. Kick cancer's ass. We love it.
Remember what Jimmy Valvano said, don't give up, don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up. Yep.
This lady is one of the best in our profession's history, a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Past regional president, and I've known her for a long time and helped her out. And I pushed for her to come to this area when that college had a position. And I said, you're going to get the Mother Teresa of our profession. Nobody cares more. And she's really strong. And it was wonderful to see one of her sports teams post a photo about signs and all of that.
Yep.
I've had it in the family, but I've seen it throughout my career in sports, and everybody steps up. And she's strong. And to anybody out there who's going through it, I have a friend named Steve from the Cape, and he lost his wife to it. And it was devastating. And now he is spending a lot of his time to be there for the others, the family members, and to be there for the woman that has to go through this. So we're all three of us are with you, and we believe in you, and you're strong. And each one of you will get through this because you have the love and support of your family and friends.
And reach out. I always say reach out. I'm in. I'll put my phone number up here if you want. And call me, email me, text me. I don't care. I'll talk to you. I'll go get your groceries. I'll bring you out. I'll take you out for a drink, whatever you want. I'm in.
And also for any listeners, if you know anybody going through it, how to offer support, I'm trying to figure it out, right? I'm still trying to, and maybe just bringing it up on this weekly podcast is enough.
There's no right way or no wrong way. It's just you do whatever whoever needs. You know, some people just need a hug. Some people don't want to talk about it. Some people need you to go get their groceries. There's all different kinds of ways.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I love it.
Sean.
Thanks for doing this. It was an awesome idea, Sean. So we're happy to wear our pink. Rock your pink this month. Donate to the cause if you can. There are various causes out there. Susan G. Komen, American Cancer Society. Take your pick. Donate to any of them. No dollar amount is too small because, as we know, it's one of the biggest killers on the planet, and we want to eradicate cancer of all kinds, no matter what kind it is. So let's do that. Let's continue to work towards that. It's a good goal, and it's one that unites people, and that's something that we need now more than ever, is to unite for a similar cause. So there's no better cause than this.
All righty.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. We'll be into the NBA season, and obviously still going with the NFL, and we'll be probably through the championship series. So we'll talk more.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys.